Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm Joshua Conkle.
And I am always as your steadfast vampiric co-host, Drusilla Adeline. How are you doing this morning, Josh?
I'm great. What a beautiful day. I'm feeling well rested. I'm feeling fresh as a daisy and ready to talk about this fucked up movie we watched. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, things have been moving along very, very nicely, and I've been watching so much stuff lately. I feel like I've been at the theater more in the past few weeks than I have in the past few months. Because we're entering into summer movie season.
Yeah.
And so all the big like blockbusters and like a lot of anticipated movies are coming out. But then also we live in Los Angeles and it's June, so it's Pride Month. Mm-hmm. And most every rep theater in town is showing some flavor of kick-ass queer cinema this month.
Yeah.
So I feel like June and October are my busy seasons.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Which,
I would say
you know,
probably.
Pride and Halloween are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I know New Beverly was doing a John Waters double feature last night that I got invited to, but I couldn't go because I honestly, I just didn't feel like it. I felt really sad. I got so many invitations yesterday, and it was just one of those like weird depressive Saturdays where I decided to just lay around and watch movies in my own house instead.
Well, it's playing again tonight if you want to go, but I went on Friday night.
Here's the thing, like there are no John Waters movies that I haven't seen dozens and dozens of times, including in the theater, because I'm such a John Waters fanboy that at this point, I don't know, it would take something more special than just that.
I think watching Polyester in theaters with Odorama cards and having a whole audience sniffing together is special.
I've done that twice, Drusilla, in my life. And
okay.
also,
right, you're cooler than me.
I just returned from a wedding in Baltimore where I made my boyfriend Joel watch Polyester, not knowing that this was happening at New Beverly. So I'd seen it like literally a week ago.
In Baltimore. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
You win.
So I was like, this is not making me leave the house.
You're fine.
I did leave the house the night before to see a movie that we've both seen and we both loved, which is David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future. Movie of 2022.
Movie of 2022.
Holy shit.
It's movie of the year.
A banger.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh my God.
I loved it so much.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you did. So, context. I saw this movie a couple months ago and I've been biting my tongue until it bled.
You had an NDA, is that right?
Yeah.
What was the context of seeing it?
You know, work. That's all I can say.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was great and I loved it. And then I couldn't talk to anyone about it for months. And I was like, guys. And so it opened this past week. It technically opened on Friday, but obviously it's 2022. Things open on Thursdays now. So I got a huge group of friends together. We all dressed up and we all went out to the AMC at the Glendale Americana to go see Crimes of the Future en masse.
Love it.
Oh my God. What a night. What an experience. I love this movie so much.
I loved it too. I feel like in a way it's David Cronenberg satirizing himself. Like the movie's very funny, actually, I think.
The movie's very funny.
It's having a lot of fun with the idea of art and like talking about art and the pretentiousness of art. And I saw someone tweet this and I was like, oh yeah, I feel like that way too. It felt like they were pointing out that it felt like David Cronenberg, like people really wished for him to return to this body horror stuff. And it feels like he did in a way that's like, it feels like he's having fun with himself and his own oeuvre and his own body of work and like having a little bit of a wink at that. And I thought it was so funny. I mean, it's also all the things you want from a David Cronenberg movie, but I'd never seen a Cronenberg movie in a really long time that like has a sense of humor the way that this seems to.
Yeah, I feel like he does have a tendency to be not self-serious, but there's an earnestness to his movies that leads into the eroticism and kind of danger of things. I don't think any. I mean, well, Maps to the Stars was his last movie, and that's outright a comedy.
Yeah,
well, in a
true.
Cronenberg sense, it's a really fucked up, really dark movie. But it's very funny. Yeah, I feel like this is one of Kristen Stewart's best performances, but
she's great in it.
I also feel like she's satirizing her performance in Twilight.
That's an interesting take. Yeah, I can see that.
Because she's so controlled and breathy. It's a mixture of like arousal and anxiousness every single thing she does the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's like Kristen Stewart was like, how am I supposed to act in a Cronenberg movie? Oh, I should be a neurotic, horned up mess. Got it. She watched Rosanna Arquette in Crash and was like, I'm gonna dial that up.
Yep, that's what I want to do. That's the North Star for me.
Yep. Yeah. Viggo Mortensen is great. He does so much with his throat in this movie than any other actor I've ever seen in my life. And we see a lot of him. We see a lot of Léa Seydoux. We see a lot of two handy women. That reminds me a lot of Bob Hoskins' character in Brazil.
Oh, sure, yeah.
These just two handymen who show up everywhere, and you're like, what's up with you guys?
They kind of feel like minions or something. Or like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, or like...
but like, very, turned up lesbian version
chic
of that.
Lesbian version.
Yeah.
Minions.
A friend of mine turned to me after we left the movie and was like, was one of them Jeff Goldblum's daughter? And I was like, nope. And she was like, well, she was just cast then because she's just female Jeff Goldblum. And I was like, yeah, you're right. One of them is just female Jeff Goldblum.
How about Scott Speedman? I don't think I've ever seen him in a movie. I think of him as like a television actor for some reason. Although I don't know, I can't even name what he's in, but I feel like it's like Felicity or ER or something like that.
Yeah, it's a very odd choice next to all of these other like, very, very big stars, but he's great. Sort of
pedigreed art film kind of people, but he's really good. Yeah. And I thought like middle-aged Scott Speedman is so hot.
Everyone's so hot in this, but yes.
True, yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the casting notice. You have to be this hot to enter the set of Crimes of the Future. No, I love it so much, and it's both a comment on art and the reception of art and the creation of art, as much as it is also a film about aging. But it's also... and maybe I'm biased and I can't help but really, 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 really read it this way, but I think it's painfully on the surface. It's like an exceptionally trans film. Like, yeah, exceptionally.
My friend Gabby, who's trans, said the same, and I'm seeing like a lot of trans Twitter saying things along that line too, which I think is interesting.
It's one of the most trans films since like The Wild Boys. Like, the entire idea of the movie is that people kind of have this new sense of body autonomy and are creating new organs that have never been seen before, and that there are government entities that are encouraging the surgical removal and categorization of these and are trying to like resist this kind of natural body development towards, away from what was previously, and how that also then falls into art, and how like surgery is like both art and sex and like desired and fetishized and like seen as this beautiful thing, and like taking control of your body is this beautiful. I loved it so much. It's like the most trans film of the year. And so when I saw it with a group of friends, two of them really didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Another two of them were really, really big Cronenberg fans, kind of up until Existence, but I really haven't seen a lot of his other stuff, and were a little disappointed by the like lack of eroticism in it. They thought it would be hornier. But then the rest of us and I were all kind of like, yeah, and talking over all of those points with them. And then afterwards we were all like, but we fucking loved it, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a few days after that a few of them came over to me and they were like, that was a really trans movie, wasn't it? I was like, yes, it was, but I didn't want to say anything. Because I didn't feel like I was just projecting, but like, yeah, it really is. It's about accepting your body. And
right.
like leaning into this desire to be something else, this natural like inclination to be something else.
Yeah, and like amending your body in ways that suit you or like you feel moved to do.
He has the great line that's in the trailer, which is, you know how I feel about my body. I don't like what my body is doing. That's why I keep cutting it up.
Yeah.
Which is a super transgender line, my guy.
Yeah. I loved how joyously pretentious it was. Like it's a lot about art making, and it, you know, surgery is art in this world. But it just is so pretentious about it, and is earnestly pretentious and seems to enjoy talking about the art making process and good art versus bad art, but is also like kind of having a wink and a laugh at that. And I loved it. And I think actually this whole conversation will be really relevant to talking about the movie that we're talking about today. But yes. Was I interrupting you? Were you about going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say it's a very talky movie. It's like a very, very dialogue heavy movie, especially if you think about like Crash or like M. Butterfly or some of his, you know, or even Dead Ringers, his like adult, erotic horror dramas from the 80s and early 90s. Those are very like stilted, almost dialogue free. It's
very
about
quiet,
like
sparse.
Very quiet. Yeah, it's about the movement of the actors and the movement of the camera. Meanwhile, Crimes of the Future is just like, it's like a book almost, in the way that it's just like characters are just like talking theory at each other for a lot of the
true
movie.
Like true philosophy, you know, like different points of view about the body and what art making is and how the body is art or isn't art. And it's really fascinating,
but it's also so funny at the same time. Like there's a very famous image now, because it's been used in all of the marketing, of kind of like self-mutilated sewn up face with a lot of ears on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a man who's doing part of this like surgical performance art. And so you kind of sit in that for a minute and you like experience that performance art piece. And then the camera tracks back and then you're immediately pulled out of it as an art curator comes up to Viggo Mortensen and is like, yeah, that's pretty hacky, isn't it?
Yeah. And that did get I mean, even before they pulled back, it got laughs in my theater. People like, because it's like a male ballet dancer with all these ears all over him. And then the art curator
this
says
really heavy-handed, like,
it's very heavy-handed
track over the top of it.
And then the art curator to Viggo Mortensen is like, he doesn't even hear from those extra ears. It's just for show, which is like as if to suggest he's like a poser because he grew ears just for show rather than like ears he can actually hear with. It's so good. I loved it.
It's so funny. Oh my god! Every line out of Kristen Stewart's mouth had me laughing.
Yeah.
I'm also like, I'm not good at the old sex. Is such a great line. Oh my god, the dialogue in this movie is amazing.
And that's after, of course, Kristen Stewart has said to him, "Surgery is the new sex." So that's the context. Yep. But man, what a bop! Listen,
what a bop! A banger.
A banger. But we have to talk about a movie that we both like significantly less, which we both schlepped our way to Rick Caruso's The Grove to watch.
Boo, Rick Caruso.
Boo, don't vote for Rick Caruso. I mean, everyone's already voted by the time this comes out.
This is true, but
we watched in an honest to God theater. We watched from 2022 by director Alex Garland, Men.
Hi.
Mrs. Marlowe, yes?
Harper, yes.
Do, come in.
The words I have to say.
It's a beautiful house.
But they're true.
Will it just be you staying, or
Excuse me?
Mrs. Marlowe?
No.
Until you give your love, there's nothing more that we can do.
Apple from the garden?
Yeah, it was delicious.
No. Mustn't do that. Forbidden fruit.
Oh, God, sorry,
I'm joking.
Okay. So I'm setting this up as if I didn't like it. I did like it. I like 3 stars liked it. Not 4 or 5.
So we saw this together in theaters with a few other people.
Yeah.
And when we walked out of the theater, you and I, Josh, clearly liked it the most of the entire group we were with.
Yes.
So that should be the setup to this discussion, was that we walked out and everyone was kind of like, that was a bit too much, or I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And you and I were like, we had fun.
Yeah, I did have fun. I think it's got a lot of interesting aspects. It's got some beautiful cinematography, really great performances by the lead duo. Ultimately, I think it's like a little messy and unsatisfying. And to be fair, the people we brought, like the friend that you brought is somebody who doesn't really see horror movies. The 2 friends that I brought are people who like pretty exclusively like more commercial sort of like quote unquote fun horror movies. And so they probably weren't primed to enjoy it anyway.
Oh, no, neither of them were the audience for this movie.
Right.
That kind of made it more fun. Like, I kept having to, like, cover my friend's eyes or, like, tap her shoulder when it was safe to look again, which made it more fun for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's fucked up to say.
It is fucked up, but it's still it's the truth. It's your truth. I will try to give a quick synopsis for this. I can never say that word these days. Anyway, this movie stars Jessie Buckley as a woman named Harper, who's recently survived a tragedy in which her abusive husband has died in an accident, which they suggest might have been a suicide, but probably was an accident. And she decides to rent a little house in the country for a while. And when she gets there, the man leasing the house to her is this man, Jeffrey, played by Rory Kinnear. And then she keeps meeting more and more menacing men in the village, all played by Rory Kinnear. He plays all the men in this movie except for her ex. And she takes a walk into the woods and she runs into a weird naked man, also Rory Kinnear. That weird naked man follows her back to her house and is arrested. And just like it unfolds in this way where like she's being menaced by all of these local men, all played by Rory Kinnear, and it all reaches like a crescendo that's insane that we'll get to. But that's kind of it. I mean, it's not a lot of plot. It's relatively simple. Anything you want to amend or change or add to that, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, it is a woman suffering from grief and loss goes into the country to find herself, but it in a very cabin in the woods, Evil Dead style thing. You're not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Something bad's going to happen and you're going to go through transformative growth.
Yeah.
And deal with your demons head on.
That's a great segue into talking about something. I found this piece by Brianna Ziegler in Paste Magazine that I thought articulated something that I've been stewing on. And I just want to like read a little piece of this because I've seen people comment on this. So, adopted across the board by a large swath of a modern American horror, these elements represent an approach to the genre that I have increasingly grown to detest. A24 is not alone in the distribution of these films. You can find them anywhere. It's the style du jour dealt by everyone from neon to 20th century. Even the better ones bog themselves down, trying to be topical in overt, heavy-handed ways. The otherwise delightful fresh beats you over the head about the dangers of gender dynamics in modern dating. Sleazy Slasher X, an A24 film, discomfortingly stalls in its fixation on the horror of aging. Night House ruins nearly every beautiful, ambiguous detail with an ending that both explains everything away and literalizes its own metaphor. And then you have Men, the ultimate culmination of what's perceived as A24's horror house style, a film that is so about something that it manages to be mostly about nothing. That's pretty savage, but it echoes a lot of what I've been sort of stewing on. And I've seen other people, like I saw someone on Letterboxd say, like, this feels like a satire of A24 movies without meaning to be. And I wondered what your take on that was, because I've been sensing that we're like at an end of this style and that the 2020s are going to be about more kind of like popcorn fun commercial horror movies. And I don't know. I just wonder if like 20 years we'll look back on the A24 era like we do like Hammer horror or other sort of like groupings of horror films.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Brianna Ziegler's writing.
I have some umbrage with this piece, I will say. I mean, I hate the term elevated horror, not the reason that other people do. I just feel like she's using it here as if it's a word that it's not a phrase that people actually use. It's like, it's so not. People are like moral about it and outraged about it. It's like, who's even using that? The only people who are using that term are people like Brianna Ziegler writing this piece. And it's specifically used to like make horror fans annoyed.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of many of the perspectives presented in this piece. And I'm not a big fan of her writing in general. However, I will say, that there is a tendency in kind of the modern quote unquote independent quote unquote art horror landscape to kind of have these stories, and they're very epitomized by the most successful movies like this, which are of course Midsommar and Hereditary, and a handful of others, that you can see this kind of style and approach both in the like marketing of the movies and the posters and the trailers, and also to the scoring, the kinds of performances, and a use of pretty heavy-handed conclusions which she's getting in that piece, which kind of like bog things down by shoving in a message. But I think that works in some of these movies.
I think it's not necessary,
but it works. Where it doesn't work is the way that like Blumhouse has been trying to shove that into stuff, and it's been falling on its ass terribly.
Well, I don't think some of that works here was what I was getting to, because I felt during the movie is like this tragic backstory, for example, which is one of the things that Brianna Ziegler claims is like common to these A24 movies. And it's true. Like Midsommar, you have the terrible situation with her family dying, Hereditary, it's got its stuff. In this movie, she's about to divorce her abusive ex and locks him out of the apartment, and he goes upstairs to an empty apartment to try to climb back down and falls to his death. But everything in the flashbacks to me felt so shallow and unexplored. And I just felt like, I don't need this. Like I'm sick of this.
So I disagree. Honestly, the most interesting part of the movie to me was those flashback scenes, because it was the most relatable. Because I've had fights with partners exactly like that.
Me too. I have too.
That were like very scary to be in. And that was the scariest part of the movie for me. Like more than anything else in the film, was kind of being put back in that place. However, it doesn't mean I liked watching that, and it doesn't mean I think that's necessary to the movie. I just found it the most compelling because it was the most relatable to my life. And that's why they have this like heavy-handed desire to put things like that into this movie, because then it quickly finds a way of having you connect with your central character.
But I don't need that.
And relate to them to then throw them on the journey.
I'm sure that's what the artists and the executives think, but I don't actually need that. Like, I think there's a better version of this movie where Harper just shows up at the house in the country and you learn about the story through dialogue and through the present. Like a version of this with no flashbacks. That's strong.
I agree.
For me.
We just recently talked about Let's Scare Jessica to Death, and we don't see anything before they're going into the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a better film for that. However, this whole style of like, let's give this character this like short film backstory of this painful trauma that happened to them, so that you, the audience, relate to them. It happens in Midsommar famously. And then while they go through all these trials and tribulations, you can see them as you, and you can relate to them and have a stronger experience, and it can be all the more heavy-handed. I don't blame that trend on modern horror. I blame that trend on Pixar.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Elaborate, please.
That is up. And that is all the shit I loathe about Disney and Pixar and
Oh my
all of their stuff.
gosh. Wow.
Is that they always set you up with like the most like famous, of course, is Up, which is like 20 minutes of emotional torture porn, and then all right, have a silly fun adventure, but the entire time we're gonna have this little like, let's slice the audience's wrist and then like poke at it
right
the rest of the movie. I hate that shit. I hate that like heavy-handed emotional manipulation. And that kind of storytelling since the mid 2000s, and since like Disney has made that more popular. They do it in their fucking big superhero movies. They do it in like, it is just kind of a screenwriting template now, and I don't think it's a symptom of independent horror movies. I think it's a symptom of people looking back at success or what is seen as emotionally resonant movies when it's lazy.
It's very manipulative. It's a cheap trick.
It's incredibly manipulative. And this whole movie does kind of feel slapped together and feels rushed. And so that being an element of this movie makes a lot of sense. I mean, the idea of let's go out into the woods and make, you know, a two-hander horror movie is like a classic indie trope of let's go make a quick horror movie in the woods with two buds. And we can get spooky and bumpy and creepy. And that's kind of what this feels like, but on like a much more expensive scale. But whereas The Evil Dead has the charm of all of that stuff, this, because it has like the money and the glean and the shine, just kind of feels lazy.
I love Rory Kinnear playing all of the men, though. I think that that's such a cool gimmick, and he's such a good actor. And because of that, and I do agree, I wish it had been more explosive, like an Evil Dead movie or something like that, because I feel like the third act of this especially falters.
I think I said to you when we left the theater that when it started going into the third act, that I expected it to go Straw Dogs.
That would have been better. Like, that's what
different
I wanted.
Rory Kinnear's breaking in from the windows, and it becomes like You're Next or something like that.
That's what I wanted, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about the idea of this being like the end of the A24 era? Because I do feel that, like, my spidey sense feels that in the air a little bit.
I don't think so. I think at worst this movie is going to be forgotten, and like not a lot of people are seeing it in theaters. A24's marketing for this movie is more about A24 than the movie,
right?
Like they keep rolling out clips of, hey, look, we changed our logo for this movie twice. Isn't that neat? Look, there's like a wormy one and an apple one. Look at that. Look at our logo, guys. They're not selling the movie because I think they don't want to be selling the movie.
I think A24 is going to pivot. I mean, the Everything Everywhere All at Once is a huge success, and I don't think they're going to stop making horror movies. I just think the style of the day probably will change, and not like, you know.
I think they are going to stop making horror movies.
You do? Oh.
I know that A24 doesn't like horror movies.
They've sure made a ton of them.
Yeah. They're at a, you know, they're progressing as a company, and they want to be something else now. Yeah. I like, if you look at their next horror offering, Bodies, it is like there's no gore in that trailer. There's no violence. It's that trailer is like, they don't even use the word murder anywhere. The copy in the trailer even says who done it.
Yeah.
Suggesting a more Agatha Christie murder mystery vibe, and the trailer is cut explicitly as a comedy.
Right. Well, that's what I'm sort of thinking. I mean, you know, I think about this movie a lot because Michael Kennedy is my best friend, of course, but like the success of Freaky and that movie coming out in 2020, like I just have a feeling that that's the direction that horror movies are going. This kind of like young person, funny, irreverent sort of popcorn movie, which I like, and I'm not complaining about at all. And of course, art house horror movies have always existed and always will. I just feel like this little niche of art house movies is going to go away. That's just my vibe.
Well, because this whole run of quote unquote art house horror movies in the past 10 or so years has all been, I don't know, I call them trauma horror movies.
Yeah.
Because that's what they always are, is every single one is a character experiences trauma and then in their grief and PTSD deal with heavy-handed versions of demons and then either come through the other side or don't. And it is filmed at a specific pace, and it is pretty somber, and they owe more to Ingmar Bergman than they do Wes Craven.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but you can't fill yourself up on those like Cheetos.
My boyfriend has a joke about that where, he points out that critics, whenever they like a horror movie and they embrace it, they're like, but this is really about trauma. And it's like, yeah, all horror movies are about trauma. Like Friday the 13th is about trauma. Like it's stupid.
I mean, Prom Night 2 Hello Mary Lou is about trauma, guys.
And
but you're not talking about that as much. Oh, it's the best.
Love that movie. Yeah, I just feel like it's funny that we started a podcast about art house horror in a time when art house horror is like going out of fashion, arguably.
I don't know if it's going out of fashion.
I think it's only this sort of slice of it.
This is true and fair. I think everyone seems to be very geared up for Crimes of the Future. That seems to be getting a lot of talk. That's an art house
horror movie, yeah.
It's very much an art house horror movie, like a lot. And he's got another movie lined up. Brandon Cronenberg's working on stuff. Possessor was a big hit, but Possessor and Teton were big hits in the like art house horror crowd and outside of that as well. And both of those kind of hit the trappings of what we talk about as being art house horror. But both of those also have like a hint of glee and fun behind them. That kind of like run through and propel them, and even like we were saying, Crimes of the Future has a really great sense of humor, so that none of these feel like homework.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that emotional like that like Midsummer or something like that has.
I think fun is the key word here. Like, and there are, as you've just pointed out, plenty of art house horror movies that are fun. I just think we're headed in a more popcorn direction, which is great. I just it's just interesting to follow the trends.
Malignant was a huge hit last year, which I thought was a terrible film.
Oh, I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was garbo, but people loved it because it was just like a what the fuck kind of splatter movie.
Well, I think people loved it because it's bad. Like, I don't think people think it's good.
I have heard the opposite.
Oh, really? Okay.
From many people.
For our listeners, that movie is really bad. I think it's super fun, especially after the first act is quite bad and not very much fun. But when it explodes, it really explodes, and it was a joy. But go on.
Anyway, I thought it was trashy, and I thought it was like a cheap riff on bad Argento. Like it was trying to be like 90s Argento.
Oh, to me it felt like Frank Henenlotter, like Basket Case or Brain Dead.
It wishes it was Frank Henenlotter.
Well, of course it does. It's not as good, but that's what it reminded me of.
I felt like it was aiming for 90s Argento.
Okay.
And then Frank Henenlotter is past that.
Yeah.
And then there's 80s Argento. And then there's 70s Argento.
70s Argento, which is the real stuff.
Mwah. I don't know. I think the 80s is the good. Anyway, so I feel like with the like success of that, but then also you have kind of like mixed in with the continued success of things like Stranger Things, and on kind of a different but similar token, you have the gigantic success of Knives Out, which is now getting like 2 or 3 sequels.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. I think this idea of a fun, star-studded what the fuck movie with some mystery to it, seems like a fun way that things are heading. Not like directly, but even again, like that's kind of how they're marketing Bodies, Bodies, Bodies as like,
Right.
look at this cast, it's going to be funny, it's a whodunit, it's a mystery, and it's going to be batshit bananas.
Enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Yes, exactly. Ugh, maybe the worst film of the year.
Yeah, that's the worst version of this. It just made me think of it.
That movie is sleepy.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I love Aggie Christie.
Of course.
She deserves better.
Yeah.
She deserves better than
she does
Kenneth
not deserve
Branagh.
Gal Gadot and Kenneth Branagh.
No one does.
What did you think of the gimmick of Kinnear playing all of these men?
So, I thought that was the most interesting part of the movie.
Me too.
And I thought that was more interesting than the movie.
Me too.
He's great. Two things about this. First, this is his second project this year of playing multiple parts.
Oh, is it?
He's also on the beloved Our Flag Means Death.
Oh.
Which is one of the greatest
I don't think I've gotten
new
to
shows
him.
ever. It's so good.
I dropped
He's
out
in the
after
first
4
episode.
He is? I don't remember. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, of the other... Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
And then he plays the same character's twin brother throughout more of the series on the back half of it.
Yeah.
That show is amazing. It's the best. And we get, again, Rory Kinnear in dual roles. However, every time I hear or say or read his name, my mind never pictures him. My mind pictures Rory Kinnear, who was a British actor in the like 70s and 80s. He was in like the Beatles movies and like Three Musketeers and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, who was he in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? This is Rory Kinnear. This movie.
This movie is Rory Kinnear. Rory Kinnear.
Oh,
One R.
Roy. I see.
Yes. In Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I believe he's Veruca Salt's dad.
Oh, great. He's great in that.
Yeah. He's like slightly overweight. He's very like upbeat and funny.
Yeah.
He was in like a bunch of Hammer movies. He was in Taste the Blood of Dracula. He was just in like a million of the Richard Lester movies. So I always think of him as the guy he's Veruca Salt's dad. Yeah,
he's really funny.
So he's like, come on, Wonka, how much? Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
So every time someone's like, yeah, Rory Kinnear played all those parts in Men, I'm imagining that guy.
Okay.
Playing like 7 parts harassing Jessie Buckley. But he's always like the nicest, sweetest man in all these movies, even when he's trying to kill Ringo Starr. So I would just want a supercut of Rory Kinnear cut into Men. I think that'd be far more interesting.
It's a really cool, interesting touch of the movie, and Rory Kinnear is really wonderful in this. A lot of the not positive feedback I've seen on Letterboxd and other places is people saying like, yeah, men are terrible. We've been knowing this. You know what I mean? And I think that's an uncharitable read of this movie. I don't think that that's what Alex Garland is getting at. I feel like that's very myopic and shallow interpretation. However, the problem is I can't tell you what he is getting after. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I want to rebut that because it's too simplistic and feels uncharitable, but I also like can't say anything better except that there is a lot of representations of like the divine feminine and masculine. And I don't think we should spoil the ending, but there is like this thing about like the divine sort of nature of fertility and masculine, feminine, and this honestly kind of old fashioned binary way. But I think maybe that's part of the point.
I don't think so. My biggest problem with this movie is its play with gender, which I think is like very much a middle-aged British white man's take.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really shallow. Like there's a God, how can I get into this without getting angry? So like so much of the movie, I find like the end of the movie, which we're not going to spoil, which is like super absurd and ridiculous, to the point that I was laughing in the theater. And a lot of people do not like the ending, and I get that. And I think it's kind of, I think it's just objectively stupid, but that's why I was having fun and laughing at it. Maybe for the same reason that you were liking Malignant's ending.
Yeah.
However, this movie, in its like thesis on gender, this whole all the men in this village are all played by Rory Kinnear. They're all the same man, whether it's a young boy or a vicar or the police officer or anything like that. They're all shades of the same person, and they are in some way connected to her ex-husband. And so they're all the same man, and the only other people that aren't the same are her one friend she talks to on FaceTime and the one policewoman in the village. Which, the only other person in the entire village is a cop. Sucks to suck. However, there's this kind of gender essentialism in this movie that I don't like.
Yes, it's very binary. It's very binary.
There's of course the divine feminine, and then on the opposite side of the coin, the green man, and that's a very like Janus two-headed image throughout the film. That the like big horror of the film is those two things colliding and becoming one and the same, and how horrifying and disgusting that is. But then also
interesting, yeah.
Which I find fucked up. In the same way that I find the way that Possessor was like, ooh, she has a penis now. Ooh, fuck, gross, right?
I hated Possessor so much, and we get so many emails, and I'm the one who runs the email account, so I see the emails that are like, you do Possessor, and we've gotten a number of them, so I really disliked that movie, but maybe we'll have to do it someday.
Hey guys, we just did Possessor. There's our thoughts on Possessor.
Okay.
Brandon's not as smart as his dad.
Yeah.
But antiviral is good. But the other thing that kind of wigged me out the first time it cropped up was that the like one of the characters that Rory Kinnear plays is like this boy.
It was so weird and uncanny because they've like de-aged him.
They got a boy and then they slapped Rory Kinnear's face on it, and it's just kind of like you could have done. It's very Renesmee vibes.
It reminds me, remember when that old nun tried to fix that painting, that Renaissance painting?
Yes!
It looked like that. That's what it kept making me think of.
I love
like
that.
Derpy Jesus.
I love that Jesus painting so much. I remember someone like photoshopped that onto Willem Dafoe's face from Last Temptation of Christ. And it was like, funny. Look, they've restored The Last Temptation of Christ. Look at this new beautiful restoration.
It's I remember people doing that for their Halloween costumes that year in a way that was really
2012. What a time!
Yeah, it must have been like 10 years ago. It's so funny. But that's what it made me think of. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, so that kid is first introduced sitting on the stoop of the church, wearing a like Halloween face mask of a woman.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
And then he lifts it up to reveal uncanny Rory Kinnear face, and is just like the most immediately objectionable character.
Yeah.
And creepiest, and he keeps calling her a bitch and like trying to like, sexually assault her as like a little boy and shit like that. But then he keeps putting the mask back down of this plastic woman's face.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, something about a middle-aged British man making a movie in which the one young character is fucked up sexually deviant boy who is wearing a woman mask to assault women feels like some turfy fucking bullshit.
Oh, interesting.
Sorry, that reads pretty disgusting to me. That really, really reads like there's nothing scarier than a man using and pretending to be a woman to assault women, and of course it's the boy who's a young child pretending to be like. I just, ooh, God. Like, if he was going for something else, he should have thought that through a little bit better, because the execution is messy and sloppy and gross. But I'm sure J.K. Rowling loved it.
I think that as much as he's a wonderful, turns in a wonderful performance in this movie as an actor, a lot of the men that he plays are written in a way that's pretty oafish, including the little boy. The other one that I thought was oafish was the priest, who is maybe in the same scene, and he has like a heart to heart. He sees that she's troubled, so he approaches her and wants to have like a heart to heart to try to help her. And then he's like, well, what did you do to make your ex-husband, abusive, basically? And it's like, and it's sort of, no one would ever say that. It's not actually believable to me. And I feel like it's a sort of thing that like this, I hate to essentialize people too, but this like male writer director was like, ooh, here's a thing that'll really, get at this issue. And it's just like, for me, the most successful character on the page that he plays is Jeffrey, the man that lets the house to her and like guides her through the house, because he was really misogynist in these super subtle ways that were interesting. And the performance was funny on top of that. So that to me was like the most successful character that he played. There are really interesting things at play. Like there's a piano in the house and he's like, do you play the piano? And she's like, no, I don't. And then later when she's alone, she sits down and plays the piano really beautifully, which I thought was a really cool moment, that she couldn't even trust him enough to tell him that she plays the piano. So yeah, I thought a lot of the writing was a bit oafish, and I can see why people want to say like this movie is only point is that men are bad and dangerous, because some of the writing is really oafish when it comes to these male characters. But yeah, the little boy and the priest to me were like the most egregiously oafish.
And yet one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the scene with the priest cornering her in the bathroom, because it's like so fucked up.
It's so fucked up, but that has nothing to do with that character. It just happens to be a character.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It just because that character's the priest, it makes that scene even more fucked up.
Yeah.
But that's also like one of the few elements that I was like, oh, that's very relatable. I have had men say things like that to me and to my friends of like, oh, you know what you do to me. You know the thoughts that you put in my head. That's your power. You need to fucking pay for that. You can't give me those thoughts. It's like, bitch, like, gross. No.
Yeah. I've had an experience only once, but I won't get into the whole story, but there's this very weird man that sort of like kind of annoyed me to the point of going on a date with him. And I did. And I was at this restaurant with him, and I could sense that he, one, was attracted to me, and two, was mad about it. And so it was like being kind of shitty to me at this dinner. And so I was like, oh yeah, this must be a taste of like what women go through.
Yeah.
So I do get it to some extent. I'm not really sure what else to say about this. I mean, on one hand, people are very critical of him as a man writing this movie about the things that women face. And I get that. On the other hand, I don't want to essentialize even a white man, because the history of cinema is mostly men, and many, many men have written many, many beautiful movies that center around women. But perhaps in this case, he was not successful. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, this whole movie just really smacks of he was in lockdown. He was bored. He wanted to try something else.
Mm-hmm.
And here's this. The ending feels super rushed and like it runs out of steam. So they just do the same thing a few times over again, which is just like ridiculous. And the thing itself, again, kind of smacks me as a little like, it feels a little transphobic, but we'll think about that one for a minute, guys.
Yeah.
And then the ending like moment does not land at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think it like is like 12 miles out for where it should be.
I kind of liked the image of it. I just wish it had been in the context of like a wilder third act, like that Straw Dogs act that you.
Yeah, it does. Like I was like with the scene right before that. But the final image is literally the final image from Ready or Not.
Oh,
which is like a meme now.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
right.
You did not earn that, sir.
I like Ready or Not more than this movie by a lot.
As do I.
I love Ready or Not.
But Ready or Not still feels like a watered down version of You're Next.
Yes, which I prefer more than, which I like
than
more
both
than
of
Ready
those.
Or Not. Yeah. I love
So
You're
if
Next.
you like Men, go watch Ready or Not. And if you
If you like
Ready
that,
or Not, go watch You're Next. And if you like You're Next, go watch Straw Dogs.
Straw Dogs. That is the chain of command for sure.
Mhm.
Anything else to say about this movie?
Should we talk about the folkloric quality to
Sure.
this?
This
'Cause
is
we
not a
haven't yet.
spoiler. This is not a spoiler to say that the thing that she's encountering seems to be the Green Man, which is a pre-Christian European god who represents fertility and rebirth and life cycles and is feminine and masculine. And yeah, this is a folk horror movie. I don't know what else to say about it. What else do you want to say?
I really kind of don't know what the movie's getting at.
Me
a
neither.
bit with some of the folk horror addition to it, because the movie is kind of doing a pretty straightforward, like, paranoia, home invasion kind of thriller for most of the film. It's got like Polanski paranoia vibes and a bit of that, like, you're stuck in the country and you can't trust any of these people and they want to do you harm. I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah, even like The Strangers and things like that, like true home invasion movies are in the mix. Yeah.
And that's like the scariest stuff in the world, personally.
Yeah.
And then it adds on folk horror, and you're like, okay. And we get a lot of like, there's this great choral score to the film that's all like throat and mouth stuff, which is great. And then there's lots of like cutaways whenever we're not with Jessie Buckley. We're like deep in the woods with something that's in there, and something's gonna come out of the woods. Something's growing and something's coming. And then when the folk horror kind of like reaches its apex, then it's like, now it's body horror.
Right.
And it's kind of just like, it just feels like he ran out of steam while writing it, where he's like, I'm bored of the paranoia stuff. Let's go into home invasion. I'm bored of the home invasion stuff. Let's bring into folk horror. I'm bored of the folk horror stuff. Like, this movie feels like it's trying on so many different horror hats. And again, like, Alex Garland, this is his first explicitly horror film. Like, Annihilation has some really gross body horror in it, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But that and Ex Machina were both
science
first
fiction.
and foremost, sci-fi films. And so this really feels like he's like, I'm going to do horror. I'm going to do like A24 trauma horror, and I'm going to do paranoia Polanski horror, and I'm going to do home invasion horror, and I'm going to do body horror, and I'm going to do folk horror. And we're all going to wrap it up in this bundle of like second wave feminism, because that's popular right now, and I don't want to read more than one book. And there you go, guys.
Right. I mean, we've touched on this a few times, but he seems to be using the Green Man to get at something about gender, except that his understanding of gender is very old-fashioned and binary.
Limited.
Yeah. I mean, all this makes it sound like I didn't enjoy the movie. I do. I like the movie. It's fine. I think it's frustrating but interesting. I think it's a what did they call it, like in theater school? Like an successful failure, or you know what I mean? Like an interesting attempt, or like something like that. Like, it's got a lot of cool things, but isn't ultimately a good movie.
There's enough in it to get you in the theater, and enough in it to like keep a smile on your face while watching it, and to keep you on the edge of your seat. But the further you get away from it, and the more that you say, it's like street meat, you know, when you're like out and about and you're like, it's 3 a.m. Let's get a hot dog from this cart, or let's get, something that you're like, oh, let's just get this quick snappy bit of entertainment, this quick little taste of something. It's gonna be spicy, it's gonna be weird and great. And in the moment while you're eating, you're like, this hit the spot. But then as soon as you finish it, you're like, I'm still hungry. And then on your walk home, you're like, and my stomach hurts.
Yeah, what was in that?
Jesus.
Yeah, it is street meat. That's Alex Garland's Men.
Street Meat, the movie.
Street Meat, the movie. I have an interesting question that I've wanted to say for a few episodes, and I keep forgetting. It's a sort of a game, I guess. Let's say this was not an A24 movie, but it was like a Paramount movie or something like that, and you're the executive, and you have to turn this into a commercial film. like what changes would you insist upon to make this like a mainstream commercial film?
Oh my God. So I'm both a studio exec recutting this film, and I have to make it more palatable to a general audience.
Yeah.
Am I allowed reshoots?
Yes.
Extensive?
Extensive. Huge.
Okay.
Sky's the limit. Except for Alex Garland, who you're taking over. You're taking over his work.
That's fine. He can hate me. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big shot executive. I have a pool in Malibu. It's whatever.
Great.
So I would cut quite a lot of the flashback.
Mm-hmm.
I would cut almost all of it, and just leave a little, like a sliver of it, just a little bit at the end. None of it at the beginning.
Okay. Yes, I do insist that the strongest version of this movie has her just showing up to the house, and you're with her.
I think you don't even need full scenes of the flashback. I think if some of the dialogue from that bleeds into the main events of the film, or single frame flashes of, let's say, the body, which is of course relevant to what we see later in the film, comes up, then that, sure, yeah, we can play with that, but we don't need whole long extended scenes of all of that. I would also trim back some of the Green Man stuff, like nearly entirely. I just as much as possible, so it's just like, oh hey, there's that creepy guy. And then I would reshoot the ending.
The whole third act would just give us
from the part in the car onward. I heard someone complain about there's a scene with a car in the third act, and I heard someone complain about that as being just like at face value just being a writing conceit of like, oh nope, we got to keep the character here a little bit longer, so gotta take that away from them. And the way that in a lot of modern horror movies there's always that scene of like, I don't have cell service. Right.
I don't
What's
mind
going
those
on with
things.
my phone?
I understand those things. I don't usually mind them.
But I feel like there's a way of doing that feels more organic than what we get in Men. So I feel like from that point onward, because that's when the like stupid fucked up stuff happens that I was kind of laughing at. I would cut that out entirely and reshoot that ending to give us a bit more gory splatter time. And fun, because this movie does have some fun. Like,
it does. Jeffrey, the real estate guy, or the guy who owns the house, is so delightful. That whole scene is really wonderful and funny.
When I went into this movie, I was afraid that the performance Jessie Buckley would be giving us would just be along the same lines as what we got from Florence Pugh in Midsommar, as in she's our central character, and she spends the entire movie bottling up grief or on edge or crying and just like playing one note of, I experienced trauma, I feel awful. For the whole movie. Thankfully, Jessie Buckley gives us so much more than that. She spends
in this.
So much of this movie looking for joy and trying to find her own pleasures in life. She like allows herself to have fun, to sing, to play music. She's very playful and adventurous, and she's also very smart. And like, as soon as things get to the point of like, nope, she's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. No more of this stuff. And she's a very smart, well-written, and very, very, very well-performed character in a way that I feel like a lot of these movies don't allow their female characters or even their central characters to experience, which is great. But the movie itself isn't having fun. She's having fun. The movie isn't having fun. So I think the third act could get a little bit more, not smoke and aces, but you know.
I agree with all of that for sure.
We could get somewhere else there so that ending scene, that feels very Ready or Not, could, I feel, be earned a little bit better, because she does nothing She has no agency in the third act. She has all the room to do plenty of things, but she spends so much of the third act of this movie just standing and watching things happen.
So much of this movie is a slow build that you're sort of, by the third act, you're like, let it rip. Come on.
Yeah.
Just like, let it rip. And it actually doesn't really let it rip. It's like, it has that one moment that you're talking about laughing about, but it's like, other than that, it still feels sort of like not explosive enough. Yeah, I agree with all of that.
I think as a studio executive, I think midway through the process of this, I would, and let's say whatever studio I'm running is the same studio that makes Marvel movies, I would stop everything and I would have Alex Garland come in and say, hey, Alex, I know we're in post on Men right now, but can you do me a big favor? I need you to come in and save the new Doctor Strange movie. We're having problems with it. And I need a sci-fi genius like you, just really like coax his ego. Look, I need you to come in. We're going to let you do reshoots. We're going to let you do whatever you want to fix this movie. And then at the same time, my next meeting is to have Sam Raimi in and be like, Sam, baby, we love you. We've got this Alex Garland movie and it's got some problems. We need you to come in and fix it all up. And so have Alex Garland do rewrites and reshoots on Doctor Strange and have Sam Raimi do rewrites and reshoots on Men. And we would have two very good movies.
That's a genius idea because both of those directors would really improve the other movie. Well,
what would you do, Josh? How would exec Conklin?
I mean, I can't say anything different. I'm in full agreement. And I don't want to take any time away from Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly about whether notable figures have seen the movie. Do you have anyone in mind? I forgot to think of anyone.
Well, this is a very interesting one because this movie is currently in theaters.
Yeah, it is.
So
it's in theaters.
While we're playing this game, some of these people may have probably more reasonably seen this than some of the other movies that we played this with, but also may have not seen it yet because it's, not a lot of people are watching this movie.
I just thought of a person. I don't know why I thought of this person. They just jumped into my head.
Tell me.
Do you think comedic legend Jim Carrey has seen Alex Garland's Men?
I don't think so. I think after Jim Carrey's very anti-violence stint, I think he's kind of cooled to horror movies.
Okay.
A bit. I don't know. I feel like Jim Carrey hasn't even heard of Men.
Ooh, okay.
But I feel like if he watched it, he'd have a good time.
Yeah, I think so too.
I feel like he'd appreciate Rory Kinnear's performance.
Yes, I think he would too. And Jessie Buckley.
Do you think he's seen it?
No. All the reasons that you've laid out. But he has like weird women things, doesn't he?
I just realized that didn't his ex commit suicide?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not the movie for Jim Carrey. Jim, if you're listening, don't watch Men.
Please do not see Men.
Please don't see Men. Please.
Just watch your own movie, Earth Girls Are Easy, cinematic masterpiece. One time I met Jeff Goldblum and I immediately started gushing about Earth Girls Are Easy because it's one of my favorite movies. And he was like, wow, I really don't get that one very often.
Did he take that as a compliment and then immediately rub his hands on you?
Yeah, basically.
God, you're one of the lucky ones. So my question is kind of along the same lines, but it's from a very performance question. Speaking of movies and actors that are known for playing multiple parts and comedians, do you think Eddie Murphy has seen Men?
I hate Eddie Murphy so much.
No,
I hate him.
Why? You can't just drop that without explaining.
Because of Raw, which is like extremely homophobic, and I know that it's from the 80s, but I still don't have to like him. And I don't like I don't like Shrek. I don't like any of that shit. I don't like anything he's ever done except for Coming to America.
A pretty unfortunate history of saying some very homophobic things and saying some in the 80s, saying some, not great transphobic things, while also dating multiple trans women.
I know. It seems to be like a sensitive spot for him. Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's really dumb. I don't think he sees art movies, even bad art movies like this one. I think he's dumb and I don't like him. And no, I don't think he's seen it.
Whether it has happened or not, I like thinking of the idea of Eddie Murphy sitting in a movie theater by himself like a whole IMAX AMC theater. The only person in that room is Eddie Murphy. He bought out the whole theater, and it's just him watching Men and laughing and giggling the whole way through.
That's a nice idea.
I think there's something very funny and wholesome about that. Because we all in our heads can right now imagine Eddie Murphy's laugh. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the concept of him just giggling and laughing through Men is super funny to me.
I mean, that was pretty much your reaction to the movie.
I mean, I would also love to see, because do you remember how in the like mid 2000s there was kind of the stretch of like a movie comes out and it does successful, and so they like immediately remake it, but with a mostly like African American cast.
Yeah.
Like Death at a Funeral is a pretty good example of just like straight up like shot for shot remade it with like an all black cast for some reason. I would love to see Eddie Murphy pitch.
Oh my god,
that
like
for Men.
Clumps style Eddie Murphy remake. That I would, if he did that, I would love him for the rest of his life. I want an Eddie Murphy, the Clumps style take on Men right away. Like, where is Tyler Perry or somebody who could make this happen?
Yeah,
that's an amazing idea.
But again, it's the same script, shot for shot. I think it would be great.
It would be great. He is very talented and can pull that off.
Just get Zendaya in the lead.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Zendaya versus 7 Eddie Murphys. Let's go.
Off of your Eddie Murphy, I thought of another cherished comedic actor who plays multiple characters all the time, but this one's British. Tracy Ullman.
Oh my god, I love Tracy Ullman so much.
Me too.
Oh, I love Tracy Ullman, both for giving us The Simpsons and for giving us many, many, many things, and for giving us A Dirty Shame. But specifically, I will always love her and I Love You to Death.
I love that.
Where she spends the entire movie conspiring with River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves to kill Kevin Kline.
Yeah.
That is a comfort movie for me.
I need
it
to
is
rewatch
so
that. It's been so
beautiful
long
and
since
sweet.
I've seen that.
I think she's great. I think she saw Men. She absolutely like was invited to a screening of Men, like the UK premiere. And she walked out of it, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Alex, you're a master! You had such a great you're such a genius." And she had a good time while watching it. And then she was walking out of the theater, and she saw J.K. Rowling run up to this is just like, you know, the UK celebs premiere of Men.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And she's like sitting on it and stewing on it, and she had fun and she was laughing and having a good time. And then she sees J.K. Rowling make a beeline to Alex Garland and shake his hand. And in that moment, something dropped in the pit of her stomach where she was like, "No, I don't think I liked it.
I don't think so." Yeah.
And then she like just walked out of the screening. You ever do that? You ever be at like some big premiere and everyone's having a good time, and then you just by yourself walk out alone and then walk away from it? It's a great, very liberating feeling.
Yeah, it is very
just to walk out of a party. I think Tracy Ullman did that. I think she was like, you know what? Not for me.
Not for me.
But I think she's seen it. I think she has good taste.
Agree.
All right. Well, one more, and again, we're just gonna lean on the multiple characters thing.
Got it.
And you know what? You got a Brit in there, and you got one Canadian in there. We can fit another Canadian in there. Do you think Mike Myers has seen Men?
I would also love like a Mike Myers version of Men.
Fat Bastard versus Jessie Buckley.
Well, yes, I do. Or I think he will see it soon if he hasn't. Because you know what I know about Mike Myers? I know somebody who was his assistant. And Mike Myers has a secret hobby where he's editing together a movie made of other movies. So, for example, he'll take one scene from a movie where two people are having a conversation, and he'll cut it to another scene where someone's listening through a doorway, so it seems like they're connected. And he just does that for hours and hours and hours.
Mike Myers makes supercuts, and I haven't seen them.
Isn't that so cool and interesting? He's never released any of them, I don't think. But yeah, that's his hobby. And so for that reason, Men is like gold for him because he can do so many things with it.
he also like famously is a horror fan.
Yeah.
And like a huge like punk fan, and like he's just like
he seems
so
cool.
good.
Love Guru aside.
Yeah, I mean, I started watching The Pentaveret, his new Netflix show.
Thing.
I'll finish it eventually. I don't know. It's fine. It's not the best. It's no So I Married an Axe Murderer.
No, well, nothing is really.
Nothing is. Even though its entire existence is a reference to that. I think he's gonna love men. I think he's gonna have a hoot. I think he's gonna have a blast. Again, like he would be laughing through that whole movie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I would love to see Mike Myers as Men.
Mike Myers, let's do Men. I think that's it for this episode of Bloodhouse. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked us, rate us on all the things. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com, and we're on all the socials. Drusilla, where can people find you?
You can track me down over at Instagram. It's Hyde Sister, HYDE, inverted of Sister Hyde. And you can get my art and get in contact with me over at sisterhydedesign.com. What about you, Josh?
I am Joshua Conkle at Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Before we go, what are we watching next week, Drusilla?
Next week, we are taking a break from trauma dumping, and we are taking a break from excessive, modern, sad boy horror, and we are traveling to swingin' 60s Italy for a bit of fun and a slice of Bava with The Whip and The Body.
Aye, I can't wait. Yay!